evening, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you all for tuning in. So let's talk about the brand new Pearl Jam album. Dark Matter was released just yesterday, April 19th, 2024. Great album. First Pearl Jam album in about 4 years since Gigaton was released in 2020. So let's take a look at this. As you can see, this is a digipack. I'm not a big fan of digipacks usually, but this is actually a really solid, I don't know if you can really tell on the video, but I'm trying to demonstrate. This is just really solid for a digipack. And that, I like that. If you're not going to give me a jewel case, then this is probably the next best thing, actually. As you can open it up here, we got a nice little book right on the inside with I really like the imagery in this. It's kind of like a science fiction-y kind of a thing. So that's right up my, I'm a big Star Trek fan, as many of you probably know, so that's right up my alley. Got the lyrics, you got photos of the band. And of course, all with the Dark Matter theme going on with this album. I think this is really a really good book. Exactly what I like to get with CD packaging. The only thing that I would change here, this last page we have here, is the CD sits in this little kind of like paper sleeve thing. Take a good shot of the CD right there. That I don't really care for. I've seen the digipacks where they have the little plastic that kind of like a jewel case where the CD would sit right in. I kind of wish we had that on the back here for the CD to sit in instead of the little sleeve. That's my only thing about the packaging that I don't like. This is, in my opinion, this is how you would do it. This is how you do a digipack. This is like my favorite digipack packaging that I can think of. So no complaints there. Usually I'm a jewel case guy, but I can totally live with this. I just wish we had that little plastic spot on the back there for the CD to sit into. Musically, this is quite melodic, actually. I thought, I think I was kind of expecting a little bit more of a harder album, especially with Dark Matter and Running being the first two singles. But this album is very largely melodic. I don't know if I want to say laid back. It's definitely a mature sound for Pearl Jam, and it really gives me vibes of Backspacer from 2009. And I would go as far to say I think this is my favorite album since Backspacer. Gigaton really never drew me in, and Lightning Bolt is good in spots, but I think a very inconsistent listen. This one drew me in right from the get-go, was Scared of Fear. I think Eddie Vedder sounds fantastic singing that song. His vocals are on point. I believe that song is about Chris Cornell. It would make sense if it was. Just hearing Eddie sing the chorus, I think you're hurting yourself just to hurt me. And we used to believe, just great stuff. Eddie's voice on par. React, Respond, nice rocking track. I love the intro to that track. It's kind of got a really cool bass line. Otherwise, it's a good song, but it's not really one of the big standouts for me. Wreckage, which was the third single, dropped just a few days prior to the album coming out, and remains my favorite song on the album. I think it's a fantastic track. Really sees the guys channel their inner Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers on this one, but it's still got a very Pearl Jam, Eddie Vedder lyric to it, which is fantastic. I think the lyrics in that song are amazing. Groove is amazing. It's a really melodic track. I love it. Great song. Remains my favorite track on the album. To me. Dark Matter, first single, really good, nice rocking track. Won't Tell is another melodic one, kind of poppy. It's honestly one of the poppiest Pearl Jam songs I can think of, but you can't deny it. It's just got such a hook in the chorus that it draws you right in, and it's awesome. I think it's a great song. Upper Hand, I think, is probably the least accessible track on the album, and I don't mean that in a negative way. Upper Hand is something that reminds me more of like late 90s, early 2000s Pearl Jam as opposed to like a Backspacer. It's like a very Pearl Jam-y title too, Upper Hand. And then I was thinking that, well, You know, they have a song called Severed Hand, and they have a song called Sleight of Hand, so I guess Pearl Jam just likes to sing about hands. But it's a really cool track that reminds me more of No Code, maybe Riot Act, maybe the self-titled album, something along those lines. And it's about this point on the album that I really start picking up on the fact that Mike McCready is stealing the show. He's just got so many great riffs in all these songs, the solos, the guitar tone, everything guitar on this album is fantastic, and is on point as the rest of the band sounds. The band is tight. Eddie Vedder sounds fantastic. Mike McCready is just stealing the show, in my opinion. This is a McCready album to me. Waiting for Stevie seems to be a really popular track, and I can totally see why. It's kind of a blend between being melodic and commercial, and sort of this backspacer vibe that this album has, and it's still kind of sounding a little bit more like Upper Hand and maybe some of those earlier Pearl Jam albums. And I love the fact that the song kind of concludes about a minute before the runtime ends, and then you just have this really neat sort of ambiance the last minute of the song. I think that's really cool. That goes straight into Running, which is the heaviest and hardest rocking track in the album. Something akin to like Spin the Black Circle or Mind Your Manners. Something Special, probably the only song on the album I'm not crazy about. It's not the worst Pearl Jam song I've ever heard in my life, but it's definitely my least favorite on the album. Got to Give is another incredibly catchy song. And Setting Sun, a great way to close this album. Acoustic driven, great lyrics from Eddie Vedder, sounds fantastic. When Pearl Jam nails a closer, they really nail it. This one gives me vibes of like Around the Bend or The End, and I think it actually might be better than those two songs. But I think it's a great, perfect way to close this thing out. Fantastic album. We've already had a number of good albums this year, and there's a few albums coming up that I'm super excited about, but I think this one really sets a high bar for 2024. So there you have it, Dark Matter. I don't usually give out grades or ratings, but I would say this is a solid at least 8 out of 10. Maybe I might settle in on something else, but just after a couple days with this is to me at least an 8 out of 10. So I quite like it. Those who are not a fan of the more melodic side of Pearl Jam maybe wouldn't care for it as much, but I quite like this version of the band here. So Dark Matter is a pretty darn good album. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the new Pearl Jam album, Dark Matter. If you like this kind of content, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this in the future, and I will catch you next time.